Hi, it's Jane. Boy, it's been a day. What can I say already? I am going to show you one of the bags that I did get finished. This is the bag that I was able to get finished before I ran out of interfacing. The interfacing is here. I am cutting more for the other bags. So here is the first one, and I did a vinyl bottom on this one just because I wanted to see how it worked out. It's not too bad. Of course, it's got an inside pocket, a slip pocket there. And yeah, this one is ready to be sent off to its new owner, whoever that might be. The other bags, I am planning on sewing on those, filming this on Sunday. Plan on getting those sewn up Monday. So I should be able to get them up in the shop probably Tuesday afternoon, but I will do a shop update video at that point to let everyone know. I did get the Afghan finished. Decided to just put one row of double crochet around the edges. And there it is. It is ready. Well, needs to be washed. So, washed or lint rolled. And generally I wash them before I send them up to the prayer shawl ministry. But that is complete now and ready to go for some gentlemen. My next project, I am starting an Afghan. And this is with some of the yarn that I had gotten at the prayer shawl ministry. They want to take us different, they wanted us to take different balls, different things like that to work on them. I am planning on doing I believe it's a double V-stitch blanket. I think that's what it's called. But I am going to do it a little differently. A lot of them, when you do them in rows like this, you do a row of color. Then when you get to the next row, a couple of rows in the same color, you would change out. I am going to let this run the way it does, so that if I start out with this and I finish midway through the row, I pick up the next color. There were some balls that were like this, some cakes. That's brown and purple. Those kind of things. I have some light yellow. I have quite a few balls of just different colors, like some blues, and these need to be caked up. So I am going to take a little bit of time to cake those up in a little bit. There are some real pretty blues in there. There are a couple of different reds that I'm basically going to roll those all into one cake. Whoops. Start with that bright center. Look at the top of my bald head. Start with this color, move to this, end with this in the cake, and then just let it work its way out. There are some whites and some off-whites in there as well. Something like this. It's kind of an oatmeal color. This is a little shade different, but still it's that oatmeal type stuff. Real pretty. Dark purple in there. Another ball of blue. It's a little odd. Couple of blues. This looks like blue suede. I don't know if that's the color or not, but I think that's what it is. Another different purple. A little bit of a different kind of maroon color. mauve, maroon. And then a nice big chunk of this pink. So, and there, like I said, there's a bunch of other colors that are in the other bags. I have another bag over here. So I will be starting that this week with you guys. As my chat and crochet and chat item. And yeah, that is what I have gotten done this week and things that are in the process of being done, those kind of things. So how's your week been going? Mine's been fairly decent, I guess, but been a little off. You know, the broken window and all that kind of fun stuff. Cats have been having fun chasing the what I call sky kites. My brother-in-law used to call the vultures, whenever there was something dead and you'd see the vultures flying around, he would call those sky kites. So I guess these are house sky kites. Every once in a while, you know, a fly comes in. They've been chasing them around the house, and it's funny to watch because they get really invested in it. You know what I mean? All right. And I think we are ready basically to move on to what in tarnation. So let me get the iPad and we'll get to going. All right. A little bit of what in tarnation. Now this happened in my home state, so what can you say? Hot dog spill closes Pennsylvania interstate. Thousands of frozen hot dogs spilled across Interstate 83 in Pennsylvania, closing the busy highway in both directions after a multi-vehicle collision. State police and 4 separate fire departments responded to the crash this week at an exit in Shrewsbury, PA, the Shrewsbury Volunteer Fire Company confirmed on Facebook. The collision occurred around 9:10 a.m., and the highway was later reopened around 3:45 p.m. Shrewsbury is a borough in York County located in south-central Pennsylvania. 4 people were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, while several sections of the highway were damaged as a result of the collision that involved a tractor-trailer truck and 2 other vehicles. The Pennsylvania State Police confirmed they are now investigating what led up to the crash. The closure stretched for 4 miles along the interstate between exits 4 and 8. We all came to a dead stop and I was wondering what's going on. Then I saw some emergency vehicles and hot dogs all over the road. Witness Jake Sitkoski told WPM-TV. Cleanup efforts were hampered by the amount of grease left on the pavement. Wonder how slippery it was. Local media showed photos of destroyed cardboard boxes and hot dogs littering the road. Now, there is a video out there. I think it's on TikTok, maybe Instagram. But there are wieners all over the place. The rest of these kind of have to do with animals, I think. I think all of the other ones do, with the exception of maybe the last one. Newborn squirrel rescued after falling out of a tree. An animal control officer in California came to the rescue of a baby squirrel that fell out of a tree and was found alone and helpless. The Alameda Police Department said on social media that the animal control officer was called to the area of Fairview Avenue and High Street on a report of an abandoned baby squirrel. The neonate squirrel was found alone on the ground. The little one likely fell from its nest, which was perched high in the nearby tree. The baby is now being cared for by, I can't even pronounce the name, YGG Yggdrasil Urban Wildlife Rescue, till it's old enough to survive on its own in the wild. probably never happen if they're spoon feeding it, handling a lot. But you never know. Paddleboarding pooches break 3 world records. The 2025 UK Dog Surfing Championships in Dorset, England saw 3 different Guinness World Records being broken by paddleboarding pooches. Mark Reeves, the organizer of the annual event at Branksome Denchen, Virginia, decided this year's dog surfing championships would include world record attempts for the most dog-human pairs paddleboarding simultaneously. The fastest 50-meter paddleboarding by a human-dog pair, and the most dogs on a single paddleboard. First record was broken by 10 human canine pairings competing in a 50-meter paddleboard race. The race ended in a tie between 2 teams, Matthew Jenkins and his 2-year-old Shih Tzu, Gigi, and Ben Gray with his border collie, Boo. The 2 men and their dogs now co-hold the record for the fastest 50-meter paddleboarding by a human-dog pair. The third record proved to be the most complicated, but organizers were able to wrangle 12 dogs onto a single paddleboard, and they remained in place long enough to successfully earn the title. Seriously? You got 12 dogs on a paddleboard? Did you put peanut butter on it? I'm surprised they all stayed. All right, firefighters rescue bobcat stuck in front grille of vehicle. North Carolina firefighters were summoned for an animal rescue and arrived at the specified location to discover a bobcat had somehow gotten stuck inside the front grille of a vehicle. The Alexis Fire Department said a crew was dispatched to a location off Mount Zion Church Road on a request for an animal rescue. Upon arrival, crews found a bobcat stuck in a car grill. Firefighters called for assistance from a local animal rescue group. They were able to remove the wild cat from inside the grill. The feline was taken by the rescue group to be treated for minor injuries. It was unclear how it came to be trapped inside the grill. They're cats. They're curious. They get themselves into predicaments sometimes. So, escaped monitor lizard returns to Massachusetts, evades capture. The Massachusetts Environmental Police said goose, an escaped water monitor lizard, previously spotted across the border in Connecticut, has returned to the state but remains on the loose. The agency said goose, who escaped from his owner's Webster home by jumping out from a second-story window July the 18th, was spotted by a Douglas resident on Wednesday, and the sightings was verified with a photo. Officers responded to the area immediately, but unfortunately, the reptile was not located. We are working closely with reptile experts, Rainforest Reptiles, to help us locate and capture the animal. Goose was previously spotted across the state border in Thompson, Connecticut. Water monitor lizards are not legal to be kept as pets in Massachusetts without special permits. Authorities said Goose's owner was not in possession of such a permit at the time of his escape. If you're going to have some kind of exotic animal, make sure you have the permit for it. Escaped goat leads police in chase through Colorado neighborhood. Police in Colorado ended up in a hoof chase through a neighborhood where a pair of young goats escaped from their owner's property. The Wheat Ridge Police Department shared body camera footage from a chase involving a goat kid and community service officers in North Wheat Ridge. Sorry about that. Throat's throat and the allergies, and just leads to a lot of fun. The video ends with a small goat being ensnared in a net and carried home in an officer's arms. The goat kid and another juvenile goat were returned to their owner as we helped identify a gap in their fencing where the goats escaped, which is a good thing. This next escape was captured on camera. Escape artist dog shelter breakout caught on camera. A Kentucky animal shelter shared video of an escape artist dog, appropriately named Chase, getting out of his kennel by climbing over the door. The Pike County Animal Shelter posted a video to Facebook showing the Houdini-like hound scaling the tall door of his kennel and jumping to the other side. The video, set to Mission Impossible theme, shows Chase then explore the room and visit with some of his neighbors through the doors of their kennels. Is anyone interested in an active dog who wants nothing more than to be by his humans? Then this is your boy, the post reads. The post said interested parties should ask for Chase by name at the front office, as we have him in a room now instead of a kennel, since he figured out how to get out. And this next rescue is kind of nothing short of amazing. And I hope you'll watch the video. Firefighters rescue cow from Oklahoma swimming pool. Firefighters in Oklahoma were called to a resident's home where a wayward cow had wandered onto the property and plunged into the backyard swimming pool. The Drumright Fire Department responded to Gordon Brown's Drumright home to rescue the buoyant bovine. While I was getting my coffee, my wife said, "Gordon, there's a cow in the yard," Brown told KOTV. The cow soon found its way into the couple's 4-foot-deep, above-ground pool. Firefighters arrived soon after. They was kind of scratching their heads. I think this was probably the first time they'd ever fished a cow out of a pool, Brown said. Firefighter Jamie Martin recorded video of the ensuing rescue. This was unique as it was livestock, an actual cow, not only a cow, but a cow in a swimming pool, Martin said. The firefighters used some chains and a truck winch to escort the cow back to dry land. The cow actually did participate in its own rescue. We were just there to guide them. So that's kind of amazing. This next story, I hope you saw the footage. Looking at the footage, what it kind of reminds me of is if you've ever seen footage, some of the things that have happened on Skywalker Ranch. Some of the videos of some of the beings that are there kind of reminded me of that. There was one expert that says he doesn't think it's fake, but I mean, you never know. That video of the bunnies on the bunnies and the raccoons on the trampoline jumping up and down, those were both AI, but they did look realistic, so who knows. But apparently this was caught on a Ring camera. Mysterious Ring camera footage sparks alien speculation. And then we have the mothership coming, so who knows. A California woman's doorbell camera captured a video of a mysterious figure that has some residents speculating about alien activity. Jessica Ortiz shared footage to social media, showing what a Ring camera picked up outside her Compton home after dark. The video appears to show an unusually shaped figure walking next to the house. Someone, anyone, please explain to me what my Ring just caught. I'm not tripping, right? Ortiz wrote. She said her son was equally perplexed by the footage. He sat up on his bed and he played it like 3 times, she told NBC Los Angeles. When he was done on the 3rd one, he was like, "Mom, it's an alien. Call the police." I was like, I'm not calling the police on an alien. I'd sound crazy. Some commentators said the figure resembles an alien or another mysterious creature, while others speculated it could have been a person wearing a hat or a black-clad figure carrying a light-colored bag that showed up on camera as the silhouette of an extraterrestrial. The video reached more than 1 million views on Instagram, but Ortiz has yet to receive a definitive answer. She said her best guess is it's still alien activity. I think God is too creative for us to be the only ones with life, she said. Who knows? It should be interesting to find out if there is a solution to that. We are now ready for our devotional, which is With God, I Always Have Hope. This is a book I picked up at Holly's quite some time ago. I am going to have to put my readers on for it, just because of my eyes and the way they're behaving sometimes. Some days are good days and others are bad. It reminds me of cataracts. You know, when you had cloudy days, it was hard to see things clearly. It's kind of what it reminds me of. King Jesus, our hope. Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ, by the commandment of God our Savior, and the Lord Jesus Christ, our hope. 1 Timothy 1:1. Have you reflected on who Jesus is beyond the sacrifice for sin? Because of the weight of the cross, it is easy to forget that not only did he sacrifice himself, but he is eternally king. Not only was Jesus the hope of Israel, but he was the hope of the entire world. He laid down his life for us at Calvary, arose 3 days later, and is now seated at the right hand of God the Father in heaven. If you could revisit the Apostle Paul's revelations, and that's in 2 Corinthians 12:2, you would fully understand what it means that Jesus is the image of the invisible God. Jesus is the firstborn over all creation because he is the creator of all things, visible and invisible. All things were created through him and ultimately for him. As a result, he is before all things, and in him all things consist. Because he is the beginning and the firstborn from the dead, in all things he is superior to all others. And you can see Colossians 1, verse 15 through 18 for that. Remember that not only is Jesus the suffering sacrifice at Calvary, but he is the risen King of the created realms, whose blood has secured eternal life for you in heaven with him. Reflect. How is the kingship of Jesus represented in my life? Pray. King Jesus, help me to see you anew through the eyes of the prophets and the apostles, so that I, too, may have their fervent hope. Help me trace each mention of your role in my redemption from Genesis through Revelation, so I can see the full picture of who you are. Declare, Jesus is my King. Jesus is my King. Act. Do one thing in service of King Jesus today that reflects his humble, selfless sacrifice. And that is it for today's video. As always, Try to be kind to one another. Get out there and keep yourselves busy. But not only that, try to make an effort to do something kind for someone else today or any time during this week. One of the good things might be to consider following Rose over at Rose Likes Crochet. She is doing a thing with Generous Crafters where they do a different item each month. So you might want to do something like that. There are a lot of things you can do for Christmas, Operation Christmas Child. Create small items for those, hats, scarves, mittens, yes, mittens, even mittens, socks, you name it. There are all kinds of things that you can make. So, toys, frisbees, jump ropes, you name it. So try to do something kind for someone else this week. All right, I'll see you again next week. Everybody have a great week. And I'll see you throughout the week off and on. Bye.